But it is worth a mention as the logical presumption is that this user would have their data in a directory such as home/root by default. TMB, this is a unique root directory found on a Linux install, short for temporary. The /temp directory is volatile and is used to store data that is only needed to be accessed once or twice. Similar to the memory on your computer, once the computer is restarted, the contents of this folder are cleaned out. Okay? What's useful for us in pen testing is that any user can write to this folder by default, meaning once we have access to a machine, it serves as a good place to store things like enumeration scripts. What is the directory path we expect log to be stored in? What root directory is similar? How RAM computer work? I don't say 10 name the home directory of the root user. Now apply your learning and navigate through these directories on the deployment Linux machine. Okay, so what is the directory path that we expect? Okay, let's begin another part of Linux fundamental 32. Tryhackme website as well. Okay, let's start the Linux fundamental part 1. Okay, searching for files. I need to execute the machine. Okay. Setting the machine. Searching for files. Although it doesn't seem like it is so far, one of the redeeming features of Linux is truly how efficient you can be with it. With that said, you can only be as efficient as you are familiar with it, of course. As you interact with OSs such as Ubuntu over time, essential commands like those we have already covered will start to become muscle memory. One fantastic way to show just how efficient you can be with systems like this is using a set of commands to quickly search for files across the entire system that our user has access to. No need to consistently use cd and ls to find out what is where. Instead, we can use commands such as find to automate things like this for us. This is where Linux starts to become a bit more intimidating to approach, but we will break this down and ease you into it using find. The find command is fantastic in the sense that it can be used both very simple or rather complex depending upon what it is you want to do exactly. In fact, so much we have an entire room dedicated to using and practicing the find command. However, let's stick to the fundamentals first. Take the snippet below. We can see a list of directories available to us. Tryhackme ls desktop documents pictures folder 1. Okay. Now, of course, directories can contain every more directories within themselves. It becomes a headache when we are having to look through every single one just to try and look for specific files. We can use find to do just this for us. Okay. Sorry. What the heck? Okay. If we remember, well, let's start simple and assume that we already know the name of the file where we are looking for, but can't remember where it is exactly. In this case, we are looking for passwords.txt. If we remember the file name, we can simply use finds file dash name passwords.txt, where the command will look through every folder in our current directory for that specific file like so. Okay, find, okay, cdls. Okay, I want to know find clear folder 4 find underscore name password আচ্ছা ওয়েট জানি কি ছিল cd folder 4 ls node.txt. Okay, find slash dash name node dot txt, sorry, txt, what the heck, folder sorry, lscd folder 4 then ls node.txt. Okay, cd find slash name node dot txt node.txt folder 4. Okay, that's good. cd ls cat আর হচ্ছে echo echo my name. Okay, okay. Find has managed to find the file. Okay, we can simply use what's known as a wildcard to search for anything that has txt at the end. In our case, we want to find every .txt file that's in our current directory. We will construct a command such as find dash name, where find has been able to find every text file and has then given us the location of each one. Okay, আমরা যদি find name dot txt সবগুলা ফাইল দেখাবে আমার txt কোনটা আছে. Okay, find has managed to find passwords.txt located within folder 1. It's within documents. Okay, that was not so tough, huh? Yes. Using grep, another great utility that is a great one to learn about is the use of grep. The grep command allows us to search the contents of files for specific values that we are looking for. Take example, the access log or a log of a web server. In this case, the access log of a web server has 2 to 4 entries. 2 to 4 entries means wait, access.log. Okay. Take for example the access log of a web server. The access log of a web server has 244 entries. Okay, using a command like cat is not going to cut it too well here. Let's say for example, if we wanted to search this log file to see the things that a certain user IP address visited, looking through 244 entries isn't all that efficient, considering we want to find a specific value. wc we can use grep to search the entire contents of this file for any entries of the value that we are searching for. Going with the example of a web server's access log, we want to see everything that the IP address has visited. Server 3 example. Okay, grep has searched through this file and has shown us any entries of what we have provided, and this is contained within this log file for the IP. Oh, sorry. Get access file, log file access to the file. No, grep, um, 3.18.122 grep nahi grep oh sorry এটা কপি করতে পারবো না ফাইন Use grep on access log to find the flag that has a prefix of THM. What's the flag? Use grep on access to find the flag that has a prefix of THM. Okay. WC. Okay. Grep. THM. That's good. Get THM THM ACCASS. Yo bro, flag extract. First time I extract a flag. Okay, that was good. And I still have not found that what I'm looking for. And I still have not found what I'm looking for. That was good. You should claim it as CD শিখছি ls then cat use করে cd folder 4 then ls then হচ্ছে cat node.txt পরে হচ্ছে grep to find the দেখতে পারি grep wait cd no আগে directory তে যাব folder 4 okay সার্চ করার জন্য গ্রিপ ইউজ করতে হয়, মানে টেক্সট টাইপ গ্রিপ। গ্রিপ দেন হচ্ছে ডাব্লিউসি হচ্ছে ওগুলো এন্ট্রি আছে, ডাব্লিউসি ডি নো ডট টেক্সটি, সরি শুধু লগ ফাইল লিখতে আসলে one not just txt find name txt okay, find grep WC এটা ভিতরে ভালো হতো। Okay, fine. It's done. 61%. An introduction to shell operators. This operator allows you to run commands in the background of your terminal. Okay. Double and this operator allows you to combine multiple commands together in one line of your terminal. Okay. This operator is a redirector, means that we can take the output from a command such as using cat to output a file and direct it elsewhere. Okay, this operator does the same function of the operator part, append the output rather than replacing, means nothing is overwritten. Operator. This operator allows us to execute commands in the background. For example, let's say we want to copy LR's file. This will obviously take quite a long time and will leave us unable to do anything else until the file successfully copies. The AND shell operator allows up to execute a command and have it run in the background, such as this file copy, allowing us to do other things. Operator's double end. This shell operator is a bit misleading in the sense of how familiar it is to its partner. And unlike the AND operator, we can use double end to make a list of commands to run. For example, command 1 and command 2. However, it's worth nothing that command 2 will only run if command 1 was successful. Okay, operator less than, operator greater than. This operator is what's known as an output redirector. What this essentially means is that we take the output from a command, we run and send that output to somewhere else. A great example of this is redirecting the output of the echo command that we learned in the course. Of course, running something such as echo howdy will return howdy back to our terminal. This is not super useful. What we can do instead is redirect howdy to something such as a use file. Let's say we wanted to create a file named welcome. The message hey, we can run hey welcome, where we want the file name. sorry, echo. If you wanted to run a command in the background, what operator would we want to use? শোনো, ওটাই তো। তো অ্যান্ডের কাছ তো শিখাইনি। Okay. If I wanted to replace the contents of a file named password with the word password123, what would my command be? If I want to replace a contents of a file named password, where is it? Okay. File name password with the word password123. PASSWRD123 double then হচ্ছে pass if I want to replace the contents of a file named password with the word এটা উঠে যাবে আচ্ছা wait, if I wanted to replace the contents of a file named passwords with the word passwords 1 2 3 আচ্ছা ফাইলের নামটা কি ও ইকো দিতে হবে তো ডবল যাবে if I wanted to if I wanted to replace the contents of a file named passwords with the word echo password 1 2 3 passwords কারণ হচ্ছে পাসওয়ার্ডসের ভিতরে একটা ওয়ার্ড ছিল ওই ওয়ার্ডটা পাল্টে আমার পাসওয়ার্ড 1 2 3 দিতে হবে okay if I wanted to add Tryhackme to this file name password but also keep password 1 2 3 echo দিতে একটা if I want to add Tryhackme Tryhackme if you wanted to add passwords that's good equal का just output करा और उसे change करा good remove echo hey welcome get welcome. Sorry. CD welcome. What the heck? Get the column. So welcome to file হিসাবে হয় না? সেটাকে আমি শুধু একটা টার্মিনাল ওপেন করতে হবে। কি ফাইল ওটা? ওই ফাইলে ওটা আমি অ্যাড করবো my name is Tryhackme add করবো। Sorry, echo. Welcome. Okay, let's get welcome. Hey, going on? Say hey, going on? Replace again. Okay. And what's your name? Welcome. Get welcome. What's the name? That's good. Find welcome. Find name. Welcome. Grep. Seriously? Damn, man. It's 83%. Okay, nice work on getting to this stage. We covered quite a bit for your first interactions with Linux. However, these are the most essential functions you are going to be using whenever you interact with Linux. I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push my mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. See, I got my mind on the facts. I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. So until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed and everything I do the best. Deep within my mind you know I'll always manifest it.
only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
Complete a question every day to build your hacking skills. 7 equal badge. To network 5% of swag. Workspace. To the 37. Learning paths. Practice. Overpass. Overpass to complete course, you know. Overpass to complete करो ऐसा. What have any group update the automation slightly? Modules, fundamental, offensive, defensive, okay. Units of web hacking, Linux fundamental data computation और पूरा complete हो ही नहीं है काम. Okay, learning paths, recently module practice, recent threads. Networks. Web PD, Active Directory, model. Fundamental गुला clear करते हैं उससे. To web, offensive, defensive. How the web works. DNS detail. Okay, DNS in detail. What is DNS? Oh yeah, that's like 731 NASA.gov. Okay, DNS domain name system provides a simple way for us to communicate with devices on the internet without remembering complex numbers. Much like every house has a unique address for sending mail directly to it, every computer on the internet has its own unique address to communicate with it, called an IP address. An IP address looks like the following: 104.26.10.229, four sets of digits ranging from 0 to 255, separated by a period. When you want to visit a website, it's not exactly convenient to remember this complicated set of numbers, and that's where DNS can help you. So instead of remembering 1104.26.10.229, you can remember tryhackme.com instead. Okay, what DNS stand for? Shit. Domain name system. Domain name system. Okay. Domain hierarchy: root domain, top level domain, second level domain. Oh, it is top level, then ওর পরে হচ্ছে এগুলো আসে. That's very good. Where he is. Okay. TLD. Top level domain. A TLD is the most right hand part of a domain name. So for example, the tryhackme.com TLD is .com. There are two types of TLD: ZTLD, generic top level, and CCTLD, country code top level domain. Historically, a ZTLD. What is generic means? Full trans. Oh, শোবো 11টা 9:30 10 11 দেড় ঘন্টা এক গ্লাস পানি দিয়ে যান দি কোন দিকে কেন ওদিকে মাথা দিলে কি হবে ও ঠান্ডা let's jump into typing master. Let's check my typing speed. What the heck? Okay. Key typing. Key typing. Start. Damn, man. Repeat now. large. Okay, since how against AGANST, however, that might say they're consider most 44 too many present some news say all use possible should 42 ले तो হবে না রে ভাই Instead most seems to hold my fact also or in little bird most will seem sweet no since sorry show increase right simultaneous in place number with last $57 Diamond Pius ideally she is still if pure small public get after ask also those so in versus point then of get 44 is absolute need person more between down face this under here at who or word consider look here good just again very house course the find never know he call high school have face might feel move thing first and that since how number less must that right no good resistant show good all are 45 for no may right into look very play nation ask damn dur okay shit Tryhackme cybersecurity specialist আমি হচ্ছে ডিএনএস এর ফান্ডামেন্টাল করতেছিলাম learn modules see how we work DNS in detail. Okay, domain hierarchy: root domain, top level domain, second level domain. ATLD ATLD is the most right hand part of a domain name. So for example, the tryhackme.com maneki. Okay, let's get started. Second level domain. Taking tryhackme.com as an example, the .com part is the TLD, top level domain, and Tryhackme is the second level domain. When registering a domain name, the second level domain is limited to 63 characters plus the LTD and can only use A to Z, 0 to 9, and hyphens. Cannot start or end with hyphen or have consecutive hyphens. 63 character. Top level domainer आगे 63 character plus TLD with only A to Z and 0 to 9 and only an hyphen. Okay, subdomain. A subdomain sits on the left hand side of the second level domain using a period to separate it. For example, in the name admin.tryhackme.com, the admin part is the subdomain. A subdomain name has the same creation restrictions as a second level domain, being limited to 63 characters and can only use A to Z, 0 to 9 and hyphen. You can use multiple subdomains split with periods to create longer names such as jupiter.servers.tryhackme.com, but the length must be kept 253 characters or less. There is no limit to the number of subdomains you can create for your domain name. Wait, top level domain, top level domain, second level domain, subdomain. Top level domain, second level domain, subdomain. Okay, what is the maximum length of a subdomain? 253. Wait, 63. Which is the following character cannot be which of the following characters cannot be used in a subdomain? What is the maximum length of a domain name? Maximum length 253. What এটা হচ্ছে country code second level country code CCTLD, top level domain. Record types. DNS record types. DNS isn't just for website through, and multiple types of DNS record exist. We will go over some of the most common ones that you are likely to come across. A record. These records result to IPv4 address, for example 104.26.10.29. www record. These records result to IPv6 address, for example 26064700206818. CNAME record. These records result to another domain name. For example, Tryhackme's online shop has the subdomain name store.tryhackme.com, which returns a CNAME record shops.shopify.com. Another DNS request would then be made to shops.shopify.com to work out the IP address. Okay, next record. These records result to the address of the servers that handle the email for the subdomain your query. For example, an MX record response for tryhackme.com would look something like alt1 aspmxl.google.com. These records also come with a priority flag. This tells the client in which order to try the servers. This is perfect for if the main server goes down and email need to be sent to a backup server. TXT record. TXT records are free text field where any text-based data can be stored. TXT records have multiple uses, but some common ones can be to list servers that have the authority to send an email on behalf of the domain. They can also be used to verify ownership of the domain name when signing up for third-party services. What type of record will be used to advise where to send email? MX. What type of records handle IPv4? What type of records handle IPv4, IPv6? Triple A records. Okay, making a request. What happens when you make a DNS request? DNS domain name domain name system domain name system. Okay. What happens when you make a DNS request? One, when you request a domain name, your computer first check its local cache to see if you have previously looked up for the address recently. If not, a request to your recursive DNS server will be made. A recursive DNS server is usually provided by your ISP, but you can also choose your own. This server also has a local cache of recently looked up domain names. If a result is found locally, this is sent back to your computer and your request ends there. This is common for popular and heavily requested services such as Google, Facebook, Twitter. If the request cannot be found locally, a journey begins to find the correct answer, starting with the internet's root DNS server. The root servers act as the DNS backbone of the internet. Their job is to redirect you to the correct top-level domain server depending on your request. If, for example, you request Tryhackme.com, the root server will recognize the top-level domain of .com and refer you to the correct TLD server that deals with .com address. The TLD top-level domain server holds records for where to find the authoritative server to answer the DNS request. The authoritative server is often also known as the name server for the domain. For example, the name server for tryhackme.com is ip.nscloudflare.com. And you will often find multiple name servers for a domain name to act as a backup in case one goes down. That's good. An authoritative DNS server is the server that is responsible for storing the DNS records for a particular domain name, and where any updates to your domain name DNS records would be made. Depending on the records type, the DNS record is then sent back to the recursive DNS server, where a local copy will be cached for future requests and then relayed back to the original client that made the request. DNS records all come with a TTL, time to live value. This value is a number represented in seconds that the response should be saved for locally until you have to look it up again. Caching saves on having to make a DNS request every time you communicate with the server. Okay. Answer the question below. What field specifies how long a DNS record should be cached for? What field? Wait. What type of DNS server is usually provided? usually provided by your ISP. Recursive DNS server. Recursive. What type of server holds all the records for a domain? What type of server holds all the record? An authoritative DNS server. An AUTHORITATIVE. Wow, that's good. What field specifies how long a DNS record should be cached for? I can't remember here. Records were found DNS request of an where is the first check if you previously the server locally. I don't know. What field specifies how long a DNS record should be cached for? What field? Field. If you previously looked up DNS. Fuck, man. I don't know. Recursive DNS service usually provided ISP. No way. But you can also choose your own. The server has a local cache of recently looked up domain names. If a result is found locally, this is sent back to your computer and your request ends here. This is common for popularly heavily requested. If the requested, I don't know. Network. Okay. Tryhackme answer. TTL. Damn, man. TTL. TLD. DNS records will come with TTL. This value number represents second that the responsive should be set. Shit. Line again, I'm importing. Okay, done. And the practical. Using the website on the right, you can build a request to make DNS queries and view the result. The website will also show you the command you had need to run on your own computer if you wish to make the request yourself. Okay, view the site. What is the CNAME of shop.the website? User. Search करता है. What is the scene of shop.the website? shop.website.thm. What is the cinema? shop.website.thm. সাবডোমেইন তাই না, সাবডোমেইন তো হচ্ছে শপ, মেইন ডোমেইন, সাবডোমেইন, শপ। এটা একটু ক্লিয়ার করতে চাচ্ছিলাম ভাই। হবে shop dot website dot thm shops dot my shopify.com. So correct answer. What is the value of the txt record of waste txt? What is the value of the tst record of website.thm? Website.thm. So wait. What is the numerical priority value of the mx record? সাবডোমেইন হচ্ছে সাবডোমেইন দেয়নি, DNS. Okay, website.thm. What is the IP address for the a record of IP address? A record of www. So the IP address হচ্ছে 10.10.10.10. It's the correct answer. This is the IP address a record. What is the numerical priority value for the mx record? mx record. What is the numerical priority value? So where, what is the numerical priority value? Lime green. বুঝি না, আমার সময় কেন এরকম প্যারাডাক পায়। is good, but I don't know what's the value of the text record of website or HTML. Text record are very good. MX like TXT bro. Subdomain হচ্ছে the txt value of the text records of website or HTML. খোদা, আচ্ছা ওটা কি ছিল জানি txt না txt Okay, what is the numerical priority value for the MX record? Hardy. Okay, done. Badge. Okay, today we will start Tryhackme module Linux fundamental part 2. Okay, continue your learning Linux journey with part 2. You will be learning how to log into a Linux machine using SSH, how to advance your command file system interactions. Okay, let's start. Introduction. Welcome to the second part of the reworked Linux fundamentals series. We will be applying our knowledge from the first installment in the series, so highly recommended you complete that room before proceeding further. In part 2, we will be teaching the in-browser functionality and help you to get started in what is fundamental skill in being able to log in and control the terminals of remote machines. Not only this, but the room will also have you unlocking the potential of your first few commands by introducing you to using flags and arguments, advancing your knowledge of the file system to perform some more useful commands such as copying and moving files, introducing you to access mechanism in place to keep files and folders secure and how to identify the things that our current user has access to, running your first few scripts and executables. Let's proceed. Okay, let's go. Accessing your Linux machine using SSH. Okay, the in-browser functionality was used in Linux Fundamental Part 1 to get you directly connected to your first ever Linux machine without any hassle. In fact, the in-browser functionality uses the exact same protocol that we are going to be using today. This protocol is called Secure Shell or SSH for short, and is the common means of connecting to and interacting with the command line of a remote Linux machine. We will be deploying two machines in this room, your Linux machine and the Tryhackme attack box. What is SSH and how does it work? Secure SSH, Secure Shell or SSH simply is a protocol between devices in an encrypted form. Using cryptography, any input we send in a human readable format is encrypted for traveling over a network, where it is then unencrypted once it reaches the remote machine, such as in the diagram below. Computer, the internet, and Linux server, internet, then hello world. Okay, you can learn about the various types of encryption on a Tryhackme room, but for now we only need to understand that SSH allows us to remotely execute commands on other device remotely. Any data sent between the devices is encrypted when it is sent over a network such as the internet. SSH allows us to remotely execute commands on other device remotely. Any data sent between the devices is encrypted when it is sent over a network such as the internet. Deploying your Linux machine, press the green Start Machine button on the top right of this task and then scroll to the top page to see deployment information like so. Start machine. Okay. Using SSH to log in to your Linux machine, the IP address displayed is the address of your Linux machine that you will be logging into using SSH. Take note of this for now. Deploying the Tryhackme attack box, looking at the top of the page, press the Start Attack Box button. To deploy the Tryhackme attack box, there will be interacting with. Okay, there we go. Looking at the top of the page, press the Start Attack Box button to deploy the Tryhackme attack box. Will be interacting with us. Okay, Start Attack Box. Okay, your machine is initializing. Okay. Okay. The IP address displayed is the address of your Linux machine that you will be logging into using SSH. Take note of this for now. Deploying the Tryhackme attack box. Looking at the top of the page, press the Start Attack Box button to deploy the Tryhackme attack box that we will be interacting with. The Tryhackme attack box is a Ubuntu Linux machine that is hosted online in the cloud and can be interacted with via your browser. You will be using this to interact with the machine that you deploy in this task. Using using SSH to log in your Linux machine. The syntax to use SSH is very simple. We only need to provide two things: the IP address of the remote machine, correct credentials to a valid account to log in with on the remote machine. For this room, we will be logging in as Tryhackme, whose password is Tryhackme without the quotation mark. Let's use the IP address of the machine displayed in the card at the top of the room as the IP address, and this user to construct a command to log into the remote machine using SSH. The command to do so is SSH and then the username of the account at the IP address of the machine. But first we need to open a terminal on the Tryhackme attack box. This is an icon placed on the desktop name terminal, and now we can proceed to input commands. For example, SSH Tryhackme, replacing the IP address with the IP address for your Linux target machine. Once executed, we will then be asked to trace the host and then provide a password for Tryhackme account, which is also Tryhackme. Now that we are connected, any commands that will now execute on the remote machine, not our own. Okay, to open terminal, Tryhackme, whether it will be logging in as Tryhackme. Okay. SSH Tryhackme @ 10.138.203. Are you sure want to continue connecting? Yes. Tryhackme password. Try. I don't know what is happening. I don't know what is happening. Okay. SSH fingerprint, the authenticity of host cannot be established. Fingerprint is Tryhackme password. Welcome to Ubuntu. System information, disable the list more than a week. I have logged into the Linux fundamental part 2 using SSH. Okay, now introduction to flags and switches. A majority of commands allow for argument to be provided. These arguments are identified by a hyphen and a certain keyword known as flag or switch. We will later discuss how we can identify what commands allow for argument to be provided and understanding what these do exactly. When using a command, unless otherwise specified, it is perform its default behavior. For example, ls lists the content of the working directory. However, hidden files are not shown. We can use flags and switches to extend the behavior of commands. Using our ls example, ls informs us that there is only one folder named folder1 as highlighted in the screenshot below. Note that the contents in the screenshot below are only examples. However, after using the -a argument for all, we now suddenly have an output with a few more files and folders, such as .hidden folder files and folders with our hidden files. Using to view Commands that accept this will also have a hyphen help option. This option will list the possible options that the command accepts. Provide a brief description and example of how to use it. Single horizontal. Will command not found. What the? Oh, well, as help. Short word. Recursive list subdirectories recursively print the allocated size of this file. Height control characters numeric grid difference kilobyte. Indicator style / height control. Okay, this option is in fact a formatted output of what is called the man page, short for manual, which contains documentation for Linux commands and applications. The manual pages are a great source of information for both system commands and applications available on both a Linux machine, which is accessible on the machine itself and online. To access this documentation, we can use the okay. To access this documentation, we can use man command and then provide the command we want to read the documentation for. Using our ls example, we would use man ls to view the manual pages for ls like so. Okay. बाबू देखा जाओ ls list directory contains ls open file, ls open file description, list information about the files, the current directory by default, short entries alphabetically if none of the short is specified. Mandatory arguments to long options are mandatory for short options too. Do not ignore entries starting with almost all. Do not list implied author with L. Print the author of his file. Escape. Print C style escape for non-graphic characters. Block size. Ignore backup. List entries by column. explore the manual page. Okay, could see what directional arrow key would we use to navigate down the manual page. What directional arrow key would we use to navigate down the manual page? What flag would we use to display output human readable way? Style escape, list entry column, list directory, generate output, single column, list directory files, mandatory, sprint author system. I don't know, I have no idea what directional arrow key would we use to navigate down the manual page. Here we go for down. Human way /h. Okay, that's good. Move, jump into file system interaction, continued. Okay, let's go. Okay, we covered some of the most fundamental commands when interacting with the file system on the Linux machine. For example, we covered how to list and find the contents of folders using ls and find, and navigating the file system using cd. In this task, we are going to learn some more commands for interacting with the file system to allow us to create files and folders, move files and folders, delete files and folders. Command touch create file mkdir, make directory, create a folder. File or folder में पार्थक्य কি আবার? cp copy a file or folder, mv move file a folder, rm remove file, determine type of a file. Similarly to using cat, we can provide full file path, creating files and folders. Touch mkdir, creating files and folders on Linux is a simple process. First, we will cover creating a file. The touch command takes exactly one argument, the name we want to give the file we create. For example, we can create the file node by using touch node. It's worth noting that touch simply key canon. Okay, let's go. Creating files and folders on Linux is a simple process. First, we will cover creating a file. That the touch command takes exactly an argument, the name we want to give the file we create. For example, we can create the file node by using touch node. It's worth nothing that touch simply creates a blank file. You would need to use commands like echo or text editors such as nano to add content to the blank file. Okay, touch new file, lh new file. This is a similar process. My directory, folder 1, my directory. This is a similar process for making folders. Making a folder which just involves using the mkdir command and again providing the name that we want to assign to the directory. For example, creating the directory for example, creating the directory my directory using this is a similar process for making a folder, which just involves using the mkdir command and again providing the name that we want to assign to the directory. For example, create the directory my directory using my directory mkdir use mk ls. Okay. Removing files and folders rm is extraordinary out of the commands that we have covered so far. You can simply remove files by using rm. However, you need to provide the -r switch alongside the name of the directory you wish to remove. rm use mk. It is a directory. Okay. rm okay, so directory. Acha mkdir use dir ls grep na R3m3mber बेर करो. Get grep using find this is a full directory. Okay, removing files. cdls touch my folder na new file. Okay, T3ch use T3ch and হচ্ছে remove touch. Okay. create करो इसे touch दिए use touch আর একটা হচ্ছে mkdir use as mkdir. Okay, remove use mkdir এটা করতে না ওদের again আর দিতে are powerful. Switch provide the switch alongside the name of the directory used to remove. Okay. rm এখানে আর use mkdir ls then remove use T3ch. Okay, copying and moving files and folders. Copy, move. So wait, file or folder or file. Using remove recursively to remove a directory. mkdir create a new file directory folder. Okay, T3ch mkdir T3ch or mkdir. Okay, copying and moving files. Copying and moving files is an important functionality on a Linux machine starting with cp. This command takes two arguments: one, the name of the exiting file; two, the name we wish to assign to the new file when copying. cp copies the entire contents of the exiting file into the new file. In the screenshot below, we are copying node to node 2. Copy node to node 2. What the heck? Copy. Okay. Copy T3ch to T3ch 1. T3ch 1 ls. T3ch to T3ch 1. Okay, moving a file takes two arguments like the cp command. However, rather than copy and creating a new file, mb will merge or modify the second file that we provides as an argument. Not only can you use mv to move a file to a new folder, but you can also use mv to rename a file or folder. For example, in the screenshot below, we are renaming the file node to be named node 3. We will now have the contents of node 2. তাহলে মুভ করব কিভাবে? Touch enable the touch tool. Determining file type এটা দরকার। What is often misleading and often catches people out is making presumptions from files as to what their purpose or contents may be. Files usually have what's known as an extension to make this easier. For example, text files usually have an extension of .txt, but this is not necessary. So far, the files we have used in our examples have not had an extension. Without knowing the context of why the file is there, we don't really know its purpose. Enter the file command. This command takes one argument. For example, we will use file to confirm whether or not the node file in our example is indeed a text file, like so file node. Okay, আমি হচ্ছে ফাইল টাচ এমটি ওকে আমার আছে কই সিডি আর ওভার ফাইল KNOWN CI text cat okay it is text file and file important error text file on the deployment version what is the type of unknown what are the contents of this file my file important okay chill how would you create the file named new note T3ch touch new note on the deployable machine what is the file type of unknown one in Tryhackme home directory file unknown one ASC II text how would we move the file my file to the directory my folder move my file my folder what are the contents of this file what are the contents of this file how we move the file my file এর ভিতরে কি আছে cat my file tsm file system T3ch file so yes team continue to apply okay move dust to cd dust to what the heck let me touch কিভাবে ওর ভিতরে আমি কিভাবে ঢুকবো touch to cd touch to फाइल बना सर टास्क तो फाइल है mkd আছে directory to him mkdir new file একটা টেক্সট বানাবো টেক্সট ফাইল echo চলে আসছে get new হবে আমি আবার অ্যাড করব echo my name is new let's get new hi my name is okay then I'm যাচ্ছি move new to dear new file sorry shit কোন ফাইলে চলে এসেছে এখানে এটা অলরেডি আবার ক্রিয়েট হয়ে যাবে cd dear new fik সেটা mkdir দিয়ে করছিস না আচ্ছা ওয়েট ভিতরে কেন dear new fike এটা পুরো আচ্ছা এটা ইয়ে গেছে remove dear new fike ls echo what's wrong new file ls then sorry new cd dear new file ls okay which is cd remove dear new file remove dear new file clear ls remove new remove mkdir okay ls mkdir new file echo my name's Rayhan new okay ls get my name's Rayhan okay আমি এটা মুভ করব হচ্ছে মুভ করব নিউ এরে মুভ করব হচ্ছে নিউ ফাইলের ভিতরে new file okay ls get new file is a directory cd new file এ যাব cd new file ls new get okay clear ls then আমি হচ্ছে এইটারে মুভ করব হচ্ছে new hyphen to my file. Copy my file to important cd ls cd important, it's not a directory, my folder, cd my folder ls, okay, cd copy new to হচ্ছে my folder new আরে এটা বুঝলাম না তো, দূর আমি এক জায়গা থেকে আরেক জায়গায় ফাইল কপি করবো, আমি এমনি করতে পারবো, ইউজ করতে দরকার নেই। ওকে, then permission 101. As you would have already find out by now, certain user cannot access certain files or folders. We have previously explored some commands that can be used to determine what access we have and where it leads us. In our previous task, we learned how to extend the use of commands through flags and switches. Take for example the ls command, which lists the contents of the current directory. When using the -l switch, we can see 10 columns such as in the screenshot below. However, we are only inserted in the first 3 columns. Using ls lh to list the permission of all files in the directory. Although intimidating, these 3 columns are very important in determining certain characteristics of a file or folder and whether or not we have access to it. A file or folder can have a couple of characteristics that determine both what actions are allowed and what user or group has the ability to perform the given action, such as following: read, write, execute using su to switch to user 2. Password, okay, let's use cmnatic.pm file in our initial screenshot at the top of this task. It has the indicator highlighting that it is a file and then rw followed after. This means that only the owner of the file can read and write to this semantic pem file but cannot execute it. Oh, nice. Briefly, the difference between user and groups. We briefly explored this in Linux Fundamentals Part 1, namely the differences between a regular user and a system user. The great thing about Linux is that permissions can be so granular that we list a user technically owns a file. If the permissions have been set, then a group of users can also have either the same or a different set of permissions to the exact same file without affecting the file owner itself. Let's put this into a real-world context. The system user that runs a web server must have permission to read and write files for an effective web application. However, companies such as web hosting companies will have to want to allow their customers to upload their own files for their website without being the web server system user, compromising the security of every other customer. We will learn the commands necessary to switch between users below. Switching between users. Switching between user on a Linux install is easy work thanks to the su command. Unless you are the root user or using root permissions through sudo, then you are required to know two things to facilitate this transition of user accounts: the user we wish to switch and the user's password. The su command takes a couple of switches that may be of relevance to you. For example, executing a command once you log in or specifying a specific shell to use. I encourage you to read the main page for SU to find out more. However, I will cover the "-l" or login switch simply by providing the "-l" switch to SU. We start a shell that is much more similar to the actual user logging into the system. We inherit a lot more properties of the new user, environment variables, and the likes. Using SU to switch to user interactively. Tryhackme user password. Okay. Where now, after using "-l", our new session has dropped out into the home directory of user automatically. Simply by providing switch to SU, we start a shell that is much more similar to the actual user. On the deployable machine, who is the owner of important PWD important Tryhack Linux common directories. This root directory is one of the most important root directories on your system. The etc folder, short for etc., is an commonplace location to store system files that are used by your operating system. Okay, the root directory is one of the most important root directories on your system. The etc folder, short for etc., is a commonplace location to store system files that are used by your operating system. For example, the sudo ers file highlighted in the screenshot below contains a list of the user and groups that have permission to run sudo or a set of commands as the root user. Also highlighted below are the password and shadow files. These two files are special for Linux as they show how your system stores the password for each user in encrypted formatting called SHA-512. etc it is a directory. Okay. /var. The var directory, with var being short of variable data, is one of the main root folders found on a Linux install. This folder stores data that is frequently accessed or written by service or applications running on the system. For example, log files from running services and applications. are written here var/log or other data. This is not necessarily associated with a specific user. Tryhackme var ls backups log opt_tms.root. Unlike the home directory, the /root folder is actually the home for the root system user. There isn't anything more to this folder other than just understanding that this is the home directory for the root user. Okay. Damn. Okay. But it is worth a mention as the logical presumption is that this user would have their data in a directory such as home/root by default. TMB, this is a unique root directory found on a Linux install, short for temporary. The /temp directory is volatile and is used to store data that is only needed to be accessed once or twice. Similar to the memory on your computer, once the computer is restarted, the contents of this folder are cleaned out. Okay. What's useful for us in pen testing is that any user can write to this folder by default, meaning once we have access to a machine, it serves as a good place to store things like enumeration scripts. Trace to history of state pin. Okay, readme. No answer needed. Okay. What is the directory path we expect log to be stored in? What root directory is similar? How ran computer work? এটা হচ্ছে 10/tmp. Name the home directory of the root user. Root ito. Now apply your learning and navigate through these directories on the deployment Linux machine. Okay, so what is the directory path that would you expect logs to be stored in? Log store হচ্ছে var data and directories would have that data. So with etc home/root expect log var basic dot log. Okay. Spoilers. Conclusions and summarize. Nice work. This room was quite theory heavy and covered quite a range of the fundamentals in getting you familiar with Linux. To quickly recap, this room taught you how to connect to a Linux machine remotely using SSH, advancing your use of commands by providing flags, switches, and where you can go to learn about this. For each command, man pages some more commands that you will frequently be using to interact with the file system and its contents. A brief introduction to file permission and switching users. A summary paragraph of the important root directories on a Ubuntu Linux install and how we may be able to use the data stored within this. I encourage you to go through this room again once or twice to gain some familiarity with the concepts. After all, practice makes perfect. Yes. Proceed to the next task to continue your learning. Okay. Linux Fundamental Part 3. Visit the Part 3 of the Linux Fundamentals series here. Terminate the machine from task 2. Done. Join Fundamental 3. Complete. Okay, dashboard. Three questions. Last one is fundamental 3. 7 40 Linux server privilege network exploration web exploration editor Linux data complete for learn Linux R3m3mber module fundamentals offensive defensive গুলো শিখতে হবে pattern vulnerability ফান্ডামেন্টাল গুলো ক্লিয়ার করতে হবে ফান্ডামেন্টাল introduction to offensive টা করতে হবে introduction to offensive হয়েছে না web application security operating system security এখন দেবে না স্ক্রাপ করতে হবে 2 months free annually system security and some hacking certainly recommend basic pen testing offensive root me a CTF for beginners can you root me CTF will try with the okay module introduction to defensive Linux fundamental how the web work introduction cyber security awareness web hacking cryptography introduction to cyber security Windows exploitation network fundamentals Windows fundamentals কোনো VIP আছে free Windows fundamental complete করতে হবে Windows 159 skill matrix reporting complete room get a 2 days hacking streak your progress 7% web began Part 2 recently enrolled yeah I know 6/7 started release 4 okay done